Hi, HHS friends. This is Mr. Shiff here. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about graphic design today. Welcome to our YouTube channel, by the way. This design, the painting was done by Mr. Lack, and I added the YouTube logo to it. So what I wanted to talk to you guys about today is graphic design that you can create from your home right now while you're indoors and isolated. So I'm sure you've noticed your Chromebooks can only run mobile apps and online apps. And that's what we're going to be using today is online apps. The reason that I'm showing you this is because number one, it pertains to my particular life is I've been developing a logo design for Holliston High School, which you're going to get a sneak peek at. It's for their Vision of a Graduate, which they'll be rolling out next year. Mr. Lack and I have been working on that as a collaboration project. Number two, what I'm going to show you today is how to design your own font, design your own letter form, and actually be able to put it on a T-shirt and purchase that T-shirt all from your home. So I'm going to take a minute and get a little philosophical here about why it's important right now to be studying typography. There's two reasons why type is powerful. One, words communicate messages, and messages can communicate anything, any type of message of hope or positivity. But a more nuanced reason in which type is powerful is that considered typography helps promote business. Let's look at a real-world example to illustrate what I'm talking about. This is Aaron Draplin in Portland, Oregon, at a 2004 TED Talk that he's giving. Draplin starts this TED Talk by saying he's been paid both 25 grand for a logo, but also a burrito. Draplin then brings up the next slide of his TED Talk, No Budget, No Problem, in which he talks about the client that paid him a burrito. This client was a hot dog food truck vendor called Cobra Dogs. Draplin was friends with the owner of Cobra Dogs, and one day the owner of Cobra Dogs came to him and said he was in legal hot water for stealing the G.I. Joe Cobra logo. Draplin said that his friend went to many other graphic design firms, but no one was willing to help him because he had no money. To quote Draplin, "They're not going to do this job. There is no money. So I'll take that job, sure. This isn't about money now. This is about rescuing him and getting them, meaning Cobra Dogs, out of litigation." So Draplin goes above and beyond just designing one logo for his friend and designs a whole brand identity for Cobra Dogs. He's proud of the work that he's done, and he says that they've been in business for 8 years. He compares this to the other job that he's done with Nike for the Air Max 360, presumably the job that paid him 25 grand. He says while he got to travel the world with Nike, the job he's most proud of is Cobra Dogs for his friend, because it felt like it had more impact. He said he loved working on Cobra Dogs because it made his friend's mom happy. He concludes this story with the slide, Inventing Clients and Your Life, basically saying that by picking the clients that you have as a designer, you also choose the life that you want to live. The point Draplin's driving at with all this is simple, that graphic designers can help legitimize small fledgling and underdog businesses and help that business thrive. It's through that graphic design identity that that business looks legitimate to other people, and that legitimacy helps the consumer feel confident about the purchase that they're making. Draplin did more than help his friend get out of legal troubles and stay in business. He actually helped this business look more legitimate. So at the beginning of this segment, I said I was going to examine why it's important to study graphic design and typography right now, during social isolation. And my answer to that is that if you know somebody who's trying to organize something, a small business or a charity, this is a great investment of your time to help that person. So I'm in Adobe Illustrator right now, but I'm going to show you how to do all of this using online apps. There's an online app I just discovered the other day because I was using Google Drawings and wasn't doing what I needed it to. And I just discovered this online app called Vectr, and it's free, and it can do everything that you could do in Illustrator. This is the vision of a graduate. The logo or the font that we're using. Mr. Lack and I came up with an image of a person with a singular circle inside of their head, symbolize their mind. So when I designed this font, I designed it with this in mind. It's a circle inside of a larger circle. And you'll notice that every aspect of this font has that repeated element. There's a circle and there's a smaller circle. So let's real briefly go over some typography terminology that I'll be using in this video. When you have something going across horizontally, we refer to that as a crossbar. Any vertical stroke, we would call a stem. So in this H, for example, that's a stem. This L would have a stem, this F would have a stem, and this K would have a stem, and so on. The curved part of the letter we call the bowl. So for example, the bowl here is the top of this O. There will be a bowl on top of this G, a bowl around this C, a bowl here for the B. Any negative space that's inside the letter we call the counter. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is launch an internet browser. For most of you, it'll be Chrome. Then you're going to type in vectr.com, and that will bring you to Vectr. On the top right-hand corner of the screen, you have two options. One says Use Online, and the other says Log In. Use Online will let you use everything and even export the work that you're finished with, but it won't let you save work in progress, so you'll have to start and finish things at the same time. If you log in, you're going to create an account in Vectr so that you can save work in progress. So even though I can finish this project in a few minutes, I'm going to choose Login here so that I can walk you guys through the process of creating an account in Vectr. Once you click Login, you'll be brought to this screen. You don't have an account now, so you need to click Sign Up. Choose a username. Mine is Mr. Shiff. Type in your email. I used my school email. And then put in a password. And you're ready to go, after you accept the terms of agreement, of course. The next screen that you're going to see is your dashboard. All of your saved work in progress files are going to show up here as long as you have an account. Right now I want to work on something new, so I'm going to go to Create File. Once we're in, the first thing we want to do is go to Pages and determine our page size. As far as I can tell, there's no grid function in this program, so we're going to have to build our own grid. You can see that under Custom Size, there are a variety of options for any type of graphic design you might want to make. For now, we'll leave that to custom, but we're going to need to change our units from pixels to points. In the upper right-hand corner of the screen is a button called File Settings. We're going to want to select points. Now go back down to the lower left-hand corner of the screen and under Page, change your height and width to 1000. Your Zoom button is located at the bottom right corner of the screen. Zoom out until the whole square of the page is visible. You can navigate around your page by either using 2 fingers on your trackpad or using the scroll bars on the right-hand side of the page and bottom of the page. Once you get your page in position, then you want to change the tab in the upper left-hand corner of the page from Pages to Layers. Now we're ready to select our rectangle from our drawing tools and start drawing. Drawing in Vectr is very simple. You click to start the rectangle,
drag to continue and change the shape, and release when you're satisfied with the shape that you have. Eyeballing isn't going to be accurate or precise enough for typography, so what we're going to need to do is tweak the measurements, the height and width of this rectangle, and we can do so in the lower right-hand corner. I want to make this rectangle 400 points wide and 1,000 points tall. However, you'll notice that when I change the width of the rectangle, the height also changes. That's because these two measurements are linked. The aspect ratio is linked. To cancel that link, we click on the button with the chain in between the two numbers. Now I can type in the dimensions of the rectangle that I want. In this case, it's 400 points by 1,000 points. Before we leave our dimensions panel, however, we also want to change our X and Y position. The X and Y position are measuring from the top left corner of the rectangle. If we want that rectangle to sit on the very edge of the page, we're going to need to set both X and Y to 0. Now you have a purple rectangle that's the exact same height as the page, lined up in the top left corner. This rectangle is going to be the start of our grid, so we want to change both the color and the border. To change the fill color to transparent, simply check off the box next to background color. Now to add a border, check the box next to border color, and then put in the size of 1 point. So now we want to duplicate this rectangle 4 times. That's really simple. We just click on the rectangle, and then we right-click with our mouse or control-click to bring up a menu, and we're going to go to Duplicate. Our duplicate rectangle is going to appear on top. We want to grab the edge of that rectangle and drag it over to the corner. You'll get guides for the edge of the page, but you can also use your dimensions just to make sure that it's where you want it to be. We're going to duplicate a third rectangle. This time we're going to use our dimensions panel to change the rotation to 90 degrees. Now that we've changed our rectangle from a vertical to a horizontal, drag it up to the top left corner of the page. And now duplicate this rectangle and drag it to the bottom of the page. I accidentally moved the wrong rectangle here, but this is actually a teaching opportunity. If you want to ever undo anything that you did, just simply hit Ctrl-Z. In order to not repeat this mistake, I turn on the locks for those rectangles in my Layers panel that I don't want to move. The most recent duplicated rectangle will be on the top of the Layers panel. Now we can move this rectangle to the bottom of the page without worrying about picking up any of the other rectangles by accident. So now I have a basic grid, but I'm going to want a little bit more information in this grid. So I'm going to repeat the steps that I just went through with these 4 rectangles, with another set of 4 rectangles that measure 200 points by 1,000 points. This next portion of video is at normal speed, but feel free to pause or rewind if you need to go over anything in more detail. So this actually marks a terrific stopping point for this video. I will continue with the next video, and I'll show you how we're going to use this grid that we've made to create a letter form. and then I will also show you how to put that letter form onto a t-shirt. Until then, stay safe, keep your distance from others, wash your hands, and remember to check our blog site. Bye, HHS friends.